Hey, how's everybody doing? This is my third podcast, and we have a very special guest here today, AmandaTheJedi.
What's up?
AmandaTheJedi here is a rant extraordinaire slash comic book movie extraordinaire slash movie extraordinaire, period. She's awesome. She's also a Twitch streamer. I'll be willing to put all her stuff or links in the description below so you can check her shit out. It's awesome.
Oh, you'll be willing to put them all down there?
I'm just joking. I'm definitely going to put it.
I see. Okay. Well, thank you.
I'm definitely going to put it. Don't worry. So, what I'd like to discuss with you today are a lot of things, but first thing is why that certain movies like The Meg and Slender Man get official releases as opposed to movies like Black Klansman and 8th Grade or something like that. Or Sorry to Bother You, for that matter.
All right. Well, I know that, okay, some of it we can't blame everything because those movies get limited releases to begin with. A lot of them are like from like smaller publishers and indie publishers, and they don't think a lot of people will go see them. Whereas, for whatever reason, it is so easy to just slap the word horror on something and people will go see it. Doesn't matter if it's trash, doesn't matter if it's literally getting 11% ratings, people will go see it. So, I hate it, but I get it.
It's just, yeah. But at the same time, it's like so many dumb movies nowadays get more attention, and it's like I went to see Sorry to Bother You. You probably hate me right now, but I saw it.
Bit, yeah.
It's okay, and it was really good. That's all I'm gonna say. It's something that means it's very. The direction surprised me. I didn't expect this to be the way it was. It's hard to talk about it without spoiling it. So
yeah, just don't talk about it at all. I don't even. Is like all I want to hear is whether or not you thought it was good, thought it was bad, and that's pretty much it.
It was good. It was good. But I could also tell you that my first experience was ruined by 3 asshats in the audience.
Oh, that sucks.
They were messing around with this one dude, they're freaking talking out, and they're talking as if they were high, and I was checking or sniffing to see if they were smoking weed in the theater, and I'm like, no, are they drunk or something?
Well, they could have been using pens because you can be super high on pens and never smell any of it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
When I was in California, like a bunch of people that were there because it's legal in California, they were all buying like the pens and the cartridges, and like literally somebody I know had it in Disney. In Disney.
Wow.
Didn't notice. So, yeah. But yeah, no, it sucks. I was actually, honestly, the track record that my movie theater is having with bringing in decent movies is so bad that I'm genuinely surprised that we got Baby Driver last year, because it really just seems like something that they wouldn't have bothered getting based on what we're not getting now.
Oh yeah.
It's been a rough year.
And I was hoping that Isle of Dogs, at the very least, would come to my theater.
Yeah, we didn't get Isle of Dogs either, which I was like, man, I live in a really artsy town, so you'd figure you'd get the more like stuff that's definitely going at the Oscars, like a Wes Anderson movie.
Right.
But man, what was there was, oh yeah, okay. So honestly, just the example of just like throw something like horror on the movie and it'll get played in theaters. Hereditary. Hereditary is a super artsy, not very accessible, very easy to see how people who were expecting like a jump scare type movie, and it wouldn't be for them at all, but we got it because it's a horror movie. So it's like, I think we got The Witch too, and that's super weird. So it's like literally the only thing it has to be is a horror movie, and you'll get it.
Wait, the Vivitch, right? The VV Witch?
The Vivitch. The Vivitch.
The Vivitch. Oh shit, I wanted to see that.
I didn't really like it. I understand why people like it, but I feel like I wasn't watching it in like the right environment.
I see.
Like,
to
be fair, I was watching it from the comfort of home, but still.
I also saw A Quiet Place in theaters. Did you see it?
Yes, I saw that twice in theaters. That I get because it was a little bit more mainstream friendly, and I can get why they would have been pushing that to more theaters. But yeah, we got that right on time.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah, it's one of my favorites for the year.
It doesn't really fall for those horror tropes that annoy the shit out of everyone.
No, it does not.
It doesn't have Neanderthal characters. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the monster kind of looks like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, but other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Movies like that deserve more attention. It got a lot of attention, but like
it did almost too much. Apparently, they're talking about a sequel, and I don't think it needs a sequel at all.
What is this, Cloverfield now?
Apparently, yeah. Well, some people wanted it to fit into the Cloverfield storyline too, like the
it seemed like
universe.
It seemed like it would, honestly. J.J. Abrams would have probably slapped Cloverfield A Quiet Place.
Probably. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If it was made by that studio, they probably would have been like, "Let's just slap Cloverfield on it."
Yeah. Apparently, there's this new movie called Overlord. I'm not sure if you saw a trailer for it in theaters.
No, I've heard that it's good though. I heard
It looks like this freaking World War II zombie infecting movie or some shit like that. And everyone and originally he was going to make it a Cloverfield movie, but he was like, you know what, fuck it, it won't.
Never mind.
Work. But he plans on making an official Cloverfield movie in the future.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm excited for episode 9 though.
I'm hoping episode 9's gonna be good because it's kind of now in a position where, honestly, I didn't realize how like ass backwards they were like approaching this trilogy. I honestly thought they at least had some kind of like laid out plan. And then to find out that, like, no, there was no plan. There was no plan of how the story was going to connect anywheres. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But hopefully, so now J.J. Abrams has to basically, like, pick up the pieces of what he originally thought he was going to do with this story and, like, bring it around.
I have faith in J.J., honestly.
Yeah, me too.
And in my opinion, I know you have slightly different opinion than mine. But I honestly enjoyed The Last Jedi more than most.
I did when I first saw it.
And then you kind of saw it again and you noticed more problems.
Yeah, the more I see it, the less... Okay, basically, the more I see The Last Jedi, the cool stuff gets less cool because I've already seen it, and the bad stuff sticks out more.
Yeah, I see what you mean. For me, I've only noticed a few. Like, the fact that Maz wasn't involved as I hoped she would. I was like, oh, hey, oh, really? That's it?
Yeah, bye. Just pointless.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me. I kind of got bothered that Lando wasn't at least mentioned. Like, hey, remember Lando?
Yeah,
like
I know. Well, it's weird because, like, I don't even think they needed to mention Lando because there's no connection there. Because, like, Han would have been the bigger connection to Lando.
True.
So there was just no chance for that to really get mentioned. And for all, I don't know. It's weird. What was I going to say about that, though? Oh, yeah. One of my bigger issues with The Last Jedi, actually, somebody pointed this out, and it's something that I love Marvel for, but Marvel does it well, and it's what I hated The Last Jedi for in a lot of places, and it's called bathos, which is the tendency to use comedy in areas where there is a really tense moment, which removes from that tension. And, like,
yeah,
it can be used...
I can kind of see where you're coming from with that one.
Yeah, so, for example, in The Last Jedi, one great scene the one great example of this is there's the moment where they have Rey and Snoke's got her like suspended in the air and she tries to use the Force to bring the lightsaber and he brings it back and smacks her in the head with it. So it's this super tense moment that immediately goes into comedy. And then while it's all still tense in that room, they cut to what's going on outside the room and you got BB-8 rolling around smacking into a bunch of stuff because he's got a garbage can on his head rather than just keeping everything in that room and building the tension.
Yeah,
it's like it was
back
very
and forth was kind of off. Yeah,
it was tonally challenged. Whereas, like, you know, Marvel will put humor in places that are tense, but when it's supposed to be really tense, like they'll let it happen. Like Infinity War let the tension happen when it had to.
Yeah.
So
honestly, though, even though I kind of acknowledge that in most places the humor didn't match with the tone of the scene. I still laughed at least, whereas like a DC movie will make me cringe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not that it's not funny. It's just that when you think back on it, it's like, what tone were you going for in that moment, and did you ruin your own flow?
Yeah, it's like the scene when Luke and Rey are on the cliff, and then she's like, "Hey, use the Force," and then she's like, "Hey, do you feel it?" And then he slaps her in the hand with the freaking leaf. I thought that was kind of...
Yeah, I was fine with that scene, but like I understand why some people weren't, but it's just, you know.
Yeah. So some moments, like the Porgs didn't really need most of the scenes they were in.
But they weren't even that bad. I was expecting the Porgs to be like really, really terrible, but they didn't even
Jar
bother
Jar
me.
terrible, right?
Well, yeah, like my issue with like the comedy, those are moments where it was fine to have it. It's when you're trying to build the tension and actually build into the conclusion of a movie, and you can't let the tension like build. Yeah. It hurts it.
But other than the humor and some of the issues I mentioned, I enjoyed it as a whole. Every single time I saw it.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I just think that there's I just think there's a lot of issues. Like somebody pointed out that Rian Johnson can tell a story in a way that's really exciting when you're watching it. So you're watching it, you're super invested, and you're just going through, and you're having a great time. And then it's like after it's done, you stop and you're like, you know what? Like, why did any of that happen? Like, why?
True,
like one of my
sometimes.
main complaints. Yeah, like one of my main complaints from early on was if, dude, I can't even remember. Laura Dern's character had actually just told people what her plan was.
True. Yeah.
There'd be no issue. There'd be no issue, and nobody would have done anything.
Like, yeah, that was the only plot line of the movie where I'm like, okay, no. But what I have issues with is that people saw it as like freaking feminist propaganda, like female over male dominance, and I'm like, no, that's not what it was at all. It's just freaking authority.
It was authority. It was just
basically
bad.
It's not like ever seen Crimson Tide?
No, actually.
It's basically like. This captain and his co-captain, played by Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington, are at odds with each other because the captain feels like he's right about the situation, and Denzel Washington is like, no. But the captain's like, yeah, like, but if
it's typical military stuff. Like captains oftentimes just give orders and don't explain it. It's just like if you've got somebody that's that much of a hothead,
yeah,
you should probably just.
If people said that they were at odds with each other because of their race, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not what that was at all. Same with this. It's not about freaking female over male dominance. That's stupid. They were
but everybody was looking
on Poe's
for
side.
reasons.
There were females on Poe's side during the mutiny.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
I think if people were just looking for reasons to be angry, there was like a little bit of diversity in it, so everyone was like, oh my god, they ruined Star Wars.
No Asians, no black people. So stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty much a lot of people were like that. To be fair, like, I didn't like Rose's character, but that doesn't mean that the actress deserved any of the hate she got, and that wasn't an issue with diversity. That was just the character was written poorly. So that's the issue. Then you go at Rian Johnson, you say, Rian Johnson, you wrote a shitty character. You don't attack the actress because she just picked the role. Who would say no to Star Wars? No one. Except Natalie Portman, I guess.
In my opinion, she was written okay. She wasn't like a great character, but I think that she got shat on more than... I mean,
she definitely did.
In my defense for the movie, my video, Defending The Last Jedi, I kind of made my defense on Rose clear as to why people shouldn't really hate her for saving Finn, considering that his rust bucket wouldn't have done shit to the canon.
Yeah, but it's not... Yeah, that's not even, like, my complaint. It's just that it's everything leading up to that. She was just kind of, like, a badly written character who had to go on a side quest that was pointless, and then, like, the one area of that side quest where they could have tied it kind of back into the regular series. They don't. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Like, I don't hate her or anything. I don't hate her or anything, but she's not like one of these characters that I'm gonna be like, yeah, Rose is back. I'm gonna be like, awesome. They decided to leave Rose out.
Yeah, it's like, but to be honest, the way I saw it, it was kind of helping Finn's character's arc grow a bit. He starts out as a coward because he's basically about to leave and save Rey over everyone else. Then Rose comes along, and then along the whole journey, he starts to realize, yeah, the fucking First Order is destroying everything, and it's like, yo, I think I should do something about this instead of running away.
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
By the end of the movie, he's fucking like, yo, I'm gonna destroy this cannon. Like, they can't win. I'm like, okay, that was good.
Yeah, he could have gone into that thing.
I'll agree that there could have been a better way to write Rose in, but I was fine with what they did. Could have been better though. That's what I can say. I think
she's an unnecessary character, I guess, is my point.
Better,
they were like, shit, Rey's gonna be over here dealing with all this Jedi stuff. Who can we give to Finn?
Yeah, true.
So, yeah.
When I saw the poster, I kind of had a feeling that they would have a thing by the end of the movie. Just like in the original.
I feel like it's a very one-sided thing, I think.
Yeah. It's better than freaking Anakin and Padme's Shakespearean
crap. That's true. At least that made sense when I was a kid. I don't know why.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to the dialogue. I was confused as to why he was saying, I can't breathe. I'm like, wait, do you love her, or do you feel like she's taking over your soul? What the hell are you talking about?
That I got, but still, it was just like, I don't know. When you're a kid, I feel like you excuse more things. You don't realize that things are as bad as they are when you're young.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. I still like Episode 3 more than the first two movies in the prequels.
I'm weird. I love Phantom Menace. That's
Nothing
my
wrong
favorite.
with that.
That's probably actually my favorite Star Wars movie. I don't know. I know it's not the best Star Wars movie, but it's probably my favorite because it was the first one I ever saw.
Yeah.
And like, I was a kid, and that movie was made for kids, so it was enjoyable to a child.
Yeah,
Sue me, you know?
Everyone else were disappointed. I can understand why, and I kind of look back at it and like, this is really... There's some moments that I enjoy, like the pod race and the lightsaber fight at the end of the movie.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think, I think
Maul,
that whole scene is like the best lightsaber battle in any of the Star Wars movies.
But Maul was just kicked out of the movie. It's like, okay, bye. He's a cool character.
Yeah, they do that with every Sith. They do that with every Sith character. If it's not Palpatine, they just like all of them were disposable.
Yeah, I would have rather Darth Maul be the Darth Vader of the trilogy rather than being brought back in a TV show and then killed off again. I mean, granted, I'm sure I've seen clips of his arc in Clone Wars, and it looks pretty interesting. And then we see him in Rebels. I'm like, oh, shit, he's dead again. Oh, okay, but it's just stuff like that just makes me think Phantom Menace the whole prequel trilogy could have been slightly better if they kept one villain, which is why I believe that the sequel trilogy is superior because they focus on one villain, and I feel that the character development was perfect in my opinion.
Well, technically, the prequels, in my opinion, did focus on one villain. The one villain is Palpatine, and all the other ones are just these mythical, like basically just henchmen that they have to get through, and none of them can be left over because if he wants Anakin as his protege, none of the other ones can be left over.
Yeah, as I see it, you know, they have the rule of two. Yes, the rule of two villains. I'd rather have that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, but they did. There was always two. It's just that like they were disposable, and that was the point. Like you've got to put these things. That's the whole point of the Sith. If they don't get strong enough to overthrow the Master, they die. That's the point.
Yeah, Maul was wasted potential by the end of the movie. Count Dooku was cool, and Grievous was just a robot. He was cool. He was cooler in that web series, that animated 2D web series they had. He was threatening, and he had a cool voice, whereas in this one, he's a freaking asthmatic droid. I'm like, what? He's going like, General Kenobi.
Yeah, I know. Still better than Bane, in my opinion. Still a better voice than Bane.
Yeah.
Hate it. Fucking Sean Connery in an elevation mask.
Sean Connery, I'm going to kill you, Batman.
That's what it sounds like, honestly, to me.
Yeah. It's better than any of the DCEU movies at this point.
Yeah, well, Wonder Woman. I would say Wonder Woman was probably a more cohesive.
That's one movie. Though. That's like one.
It is one. It's the only one, and it's not great. It's not great. It falls apart in the ending, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't like how Zack Snyder it got at the end of the movie, like with Ares.
They didn't need to show Ares. You could have left
that out.
That's the thing.
Have been
there
like,
didn't
you know
need
what?
To be an Ares.
Maybe there is no threat. Maybe we just have to combat it ourselves.
Well, no, it's more like, hey, people can be evil and do terrible things without the influence of a mythical being. And she realizes that, and then they still bring Ares in anyways, so...
Yeah, that was like, okay, I didn't want Nigel Thornberry to pop out and be like, I'm Ares.
Yeah. Just...
And the worst part is, when he had the armor on, he revealed his face, and you can see his freaking Nigel Thornberry mustache.
I got fine with him as an actor. I didn't mind the character being in it earlier on.
The voice was like, oh shit, freaking Professor Lupin. Was
Professor
Ares.
Lupin.
But
I love Lupin.
If Gerard Butler happened to be Ares, I would have seen the twist coming from a mile away.
Oh jeez. I feel like it was pretty obvious that he was not a good guy, but I don't know.
He didn't see, I was kind of fooled at that point. I was surprised that he was Ares, but at the same time I was like, oh shit, it's Ares. Oh no, they're ruining the ending. Damn it. Damn it, Patty. Damn it. But after everything was over, I was fine with the whole movie overall. I was like, okay, this is a good movie. And then Justice League came out, and I was utterly disappointed.
Oh, same.
I wanted to like it. Hell, I wanted to love it when it went in. But
I knew it wasn't going to be good, so...
It just shit the bed. It did? Like, what the hell happened?
It ruined, like, every character development thing that they did in previous installments. And just basically, their biggest issue is they keep writing movies... to like they write movies and then make the characters fit the roles they need to make that storyline progress rather than writing the story and the movie to fit the characters they've created.
Right.
Like Marvel does that. Marvel is really good at letting characters develop, and that affects how they act in future installments, so.
And that's the problem with DC. They're trying to be on Marvel level when they just be on their own level. Like, DC can still be good, but not be like Marvel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
It pisses me off. Now that Joss Whedon took the helm of the reshoots, to be honest, if I was head of DC, I'd be like, you know what, let's just give this movie a bit more time until Zack Snyder heals, and then he could probably make it okay.
I don't think so, because everybody keps saying, I want to see the Snyder Cut. I don't think the Zack Snyder
pisses
movie
me
would have
off.
been
I'm like,
any better. I don't think it would have been any better.
If the other 30 minutes of Batman vs Superman added in the movie didn't save Batman vs Superman, what makes you think the Zack Snyder Cut's gonna do anything?
To me, like, Zack Snyder hasn't made a decent movie since 300.
No.
He did some decent stuff with Watchmen, but, like, he doesn't understand the characters he's bringing to the big screen, so then he misses major purposes of the story.
I have a friend of mine who's very meticulous about certain comic book stories, and when he saw The Watchmen, he thought it was okay up until the ending when Rorschach's diary was like, oh, I can see where you're coming from with that. I didn't...
Yeah.
Because for the most part, when I see comic book movies, I never really read I'm more of a watcher than a reader. Not saying I wouldn't check it out, but I've been watching comic book movies without reading the comics for years, and I grew up with the MCU, and I loved it. I fell in love with the MCU, and then I saw the DCEU, and I'm like, you know, maybe, hopefully they won't try it too hard and rush this. But then I saw Batman vs Superman, and it was like, it was a jumbled mess, like 15 movies in one. Yep,
it's pretty much
the
what it is.
Death of Superman, Lex Luthor, freaking The Dark Knight Returns, freaking Injustice at one point, and an unnecessary dream sequence. Like, dude.
Just a mess.
I know. It disappointed me when I saw it, and then I saw Justice League. They fucked up Batman. I'm sorry. I can't stress enough how they fucked up my favorite character.
Oh yeah, they definitely fucked up Batman.
Dude,
that's common knowledge.
Like moments when Batman gets smacked against a police car and just sits there like a bitch. I'm like, come on.
They just do a lot of things wrong, and I don't like this Zack Snyder.
Which is why
I feel really terrible for what happened to his family, but that doesn't take away the fact that he's not very good at what he does, in my opinion.
He's not, and
he's like Michael Bay. Except instead of explosions, it's blue wash.
And freaking backgrounds are so fake as well. Not to mention the villain, but the backgrounds. Yeah, it's like, I don't understand how a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy that was like 100% like pretty much CG backgrounds entirely looked more realistic than a movie that was supposed to be taking place on Earth. Right, like in Metropolis, it was all green screen. It's just so ridiculous. Which is why I'm excited for Shazam, because it takes place in real setting in an actual town.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like special effects can't be used in a good way. Like I said, David Fincher is like the master of using CG in a way that you don't even realize it's happening, creating backgrounds that seem real that aren't. So it can be done incredibly well. It's just they didn't do it incredibly well, and there was no reason for them not to use actual locations. It didn't make sense. At all. You know, like it makes sense if you're like, I'm filming a movie that takes place in the 60s, and obviously things have changed since the 60s, so I'm going to use CGI to accurately recreate this background and this street so that it looks perfect.
Yeah, like a great example is Civil War, when they're on the rooftop. I actually thought they were on a fucking rooftop, but they weren't.
I know, they did a great job.
And the airport scene, they actually filmed outside with lighting and actual lighting from the fucking sun. Whereas in this movie, they fucking just stand in a green screen studio. I probably feel like Ian McKellen felt when he was acting in front of a green screen the whole time. Like, this is not why I chose acting.
Yeah, but hey, you can do green screen acting in a good way. It's just when to use it and when not to use it.
True, exactly. And it's just ridiculous that DC can't make shit realistic nowadays, especially considering the Aquaman trailer has freaking CG sharks.
Yeah, people are still trying to say that like there's things that looked worse than that in trailers, and I'm like, I don't know, man, that aquarium scene, that's fucking rough. And that's the one scene that they would have the most control over, because like the animals in the tank aren't really interacting with anybody. Like it would be really easy just to make that look good. Like that shark looks so bad, but I'm gonna give them the pass there. I will say that I think that the Aquaman trailer looks better than I thought it was going to. I don't think it looks amazing. I don't think it looks terrible. I'm just going in with low expectations.
Yeah. The trailer didn't really exactly sit right with me. Because I feel like that they're gonna... That DC hasn't really fulfilled their promises as far as, like, making good movies anymore. It's Shazam is the only...
I don't think they've ever promised to make... Literally, it was like this year that they were like, our new plan forward is we're just gonna try to make good movies. And, like, it's like that wasn't your plan all along. Your plan all along wasn't just to make good movies, but apparently they were literally just so focused on trying to make this universe that they don't actually think about what goes into actually doing that properly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like a DC issue or if that's a Warner Brothers issue, but...
And the few movies that I really don't want to be made or released at all are the Avatar sequels.
Oh, fuck that. I hate Avatar.
I really don't want a sequel. In my opinion, I know you don't like Avatar at all.
It doesn't need a sequel.
But,
how did that need a sequel? In what world? James Cameron?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, when I saw the ending of Avatar, I was like, okay, that's it. We don't need any more. And then they announced, yeah, we're going to bring back Michelle Rodriguez, and we're going to bring back the bad guy, and then we're going to bring back freaking Sigourney Weaver, and I'm like, no!
It's stupid, just
no, you don't fucking do that. This is why... Like, if you're going to kill off a character, commit to it, but don't resurrect them. Otherwise, we're not going to believe their deaths again. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's just the whole thing's stupid, and I think that James Cameron needs to get off his like high horse. Like, I get it, you made two of the highest grossing movies of all time. You've pushed the boundaries of special effects in multiple times. I get it. You're kind of a big deal, but to have the audacity to say that you hope people get tired of superhero movies and that new stories need to be told, but the only thing you're working on are sequels to your shitty Avatar movie that wasn't unique in the slightest, a reboot of the Terminator series, and a True Lies television show. Fuck off, James Cameron, you unoriginal sack of shit. And I'm gonna get hate for that because he seems to have like the most dedicated fucking fanboys.
It is hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
like, yeah, I'm not going to say that he's not a good director because he's
like,
created
he made some
of
good
the best.
In the past.
He's made some
he made
amazing
Terminator
movies.
2,
It's just
one and two.
Yeah, it's just right now
Aliens.
He's washed up.
He's out of his element.
Washed up, and he's literally the things that he's insulting are the things that he does all the damn time.
I mean, at least George Lucas doesn't make hypocritical statements about certain things. You know what I mean? Like, he may have made the prequels, but I don't like hate him as a person because I know that he just wanted to make a good story. But he sold the rights because he didn't want to take shit anymore, and I'm not surprised about that. But with James Cameron, it's like, hey, you want Avatar sequels? No? Well, fuck it, here you go. Money, 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 money.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like it's gonna end up like Transformers.
He'd been planning to make sequels from the get-go. It's just like he delayed them because I guess there wasn't anything new and fun he could use to push. Yeah.
Right. With Avatar the movie, I thought the movie was average, whereas the effects were amazing in my opinion. I thought it was fine.
Like, they were like some of them were amazing, but nothing about it was like this was not worth like
3D
the praise that it's getting. This is not, and it gave me a headache. Honestly, the 3D gave me a headache.
Really?
Gave me a headache. Everyone was like, "It's the best 3D in the world," and I was like, "This is the only 3D movie that's ever given me a headache."
Yeah, I mean the acting wasn't bad though. I like the acting in the movie.
It's all right. The main villain dude, the military guy, was an idiot. Literally, the only person that I think might have been a more shallow villain than him in a movie is the idiot from Jurassic World. Literally, that's the only one.
That I would really love to talk about because Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was a piece of shit.
It was.
I'm a big fan of the first Jurassic Park movie.
Same. I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. The books too. Yeah,
I love to read the books now. I'd rather read the books than watch them. Yes, I definitely believe that statement.
Yeah, like the first book is really great, and then I think that the movie did a really great job adapting it. But then the second movie, they kind of fell off. They didn't follow the story quite as closely as they could have or should have, and I think that hurt them a lot in the long run. So the second book's definitely worth reading. But my God, is this movie seeming pile of shit.
Here's how I feel. The Lost World was rough around a lot of edges of the movie, but it wasn't god awful. It was watchable. It was fun. Jurassic Park 3 was a big nothing. You could skip it.
I was
and you
young
wouldn't
when I
miss
saw
anything.
it, so I enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit when I was younger. I realized it's not great, but as a kid, I was like, this is a great movie.
Freaking cell phone in a Spinosaurus' stomach alerting.
I know, but I don't know. When I was a
heroes.
kid, I liked it, you know?
Yeah, it's something a kid would enjoy, exactly. But I saw Jurassic World, and I thought it was fine. A lot of dumb shit, but it was fine. Right? I mean, I hated the villain of that movie as well. He was corny. He walked around. You see him walking on set, and it's like, yep, he's the bad guy. You didn't even have to say it.
The obsession with trying to like militarize dinosaurs in those movies makes no sense. It just makes no sense.
Which is why I hate Jurassic World: Fallen
Because
Kingdom.
they doubled down on it. That was like everybody's
Yes.
biggest complaint about Jurassic World, and instead of just like flipping it or just going in a different direction, they doubled down.
Like what? Like, dude, if it didn't work before, what makes you think it's gonna work now? And the thing that makes that confuses me the most is like they take a bone of the Indominus Rex, and somehow they're able to create an Indoraptor with no raptor DNA put in it.
Well, the they had the raptor DNA already.
I mean, the ability to respond to commands and stuff.
But they didn't. That's the thing. That's why they needed blue. So this was like a prototype as to what it was going to look like, and then it was like, but now we need blue to make the real one.
Yeah, the plot was so convoluted. I needed just to think.
Oh, it's stupid as shit.
Yeah,
it's just
and
dumb.
I hate
like I said, it's a turd wrapped in stupid.
Turd wrapped in stupid.
It's a turd wrapped in stupid with like a gold casing. Because cinematography-wise, it was like they did a lot of really nice shots, but it was just really bad. It was just a terrible movie.
Yeah, like style over substance. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, it was 100% style over substance.
Yeah, like I hated the. A lot of people hate the nerd, Frank Webb, whatever his name is.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, Franklin.
I hated him too. I wanted him to get struck down by a meteorite, but it didn't happen. And I hated the movie for that. But a lot of people overlook the edgy chick of the movie.
I thought she was fine. I just don't know why they didn't just like bring the two people back from the first Jurassic World movie that were already shown to be like IT workers and stuff. And
yeah, they could have been cool. They could have been there, but no, we needed younger people.
Well, like the girl was fine because I get it. She's like a vet, so they needed somebody who had training in that. I get that.
But the scene that didn't make sense to me at the very least was like she walked up to Chris Pratt, and then all of a sudden she's like, "I'm gonna shoot you, but if you shoot me, the raptor dies." And I'm like, they didn't even aim their gun at you, and you threaten them with a pistol. And I'm like, it would have made sense if they pointed a gun at you, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's like, "Hey, don't shoot me. I could save the raptor." Oh, okay.
I don't know.
It
was just dumb. The whole thing was dumb.
It was dumb, and then. The thing that pissed me off the most was the clone baby.
I don't even mind if that's the direction they want to go in. I don't want to spoil the movie necessarily. I know it's been out for a while, but I don't want to go into details if people haven't seen it. Though I recommend not seeing it. But it was just like they can do the human cloning storyline if they want to. It was just like the way it was introduced was stupid. Like literally having the only thing this dude is missing is the mustache to twirl. And revealing his evil plan, like
right.
So stupid.
And yeah, like there's a scene where he's talking to the auctioneer about his plan, like in full paragraphs or something, right in front of the girl, and she's like, "Oh shit, he's planning something bad. I gotta tell my grandpa," and he doesn't believe a single word she says.
Yeah, well, like, he doesn't, and then he like looks into it and realizes it's real, but
yeah, too late.
Like the nicer thing to do would have been like, I think maybe you misunderstood what you heard, but let's look into it together.
Yeah,
you know,
something like that. But then he tells when he's talking to the bad guy, he's all like, "Pick up the phone, call the police. If the story comes from you, it'll be better for everyone." Yeah. I'm like, are you serious right now?
Like, to be fair, that's usually what you offer people. It's like, it's just you don't think that somebody's gonna try to kill you if you've known them that long.
Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't make sense.
The whole thing's stupid. It's just a stupid movie.
Yeah. Like
not worthy of being discussed because it's so stupid.
I plan on making a full-length video of the entire franchise, though.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, definitely. But also, there's something I want to talk about as well. Two things. I want to start with talking about James Gunn.
Okay.
Real quick.
Sure.
what's your opinion on whether or not he should be reinstated or?
Well, I think he should be reinstated. Like I said, until there's any evidence of him watching child pornography, creating child pornography, trying to solicit minors, actively hurting minors, or actively assaulting or hurting anybody else, or committing any kind of crime, he should 100% be reinstated. He didn't do anything wrong. So like, it's a bunch of edgy. It's like, yeah, the tweets were stupid. They were super messed up, but they're edgy tweets. It's like literally like, it's like the joke is not what is being said. What he thinks is basically one of the, it's like all trolls find, it's not what you're saying that's funny, it's the reaction to what you say that's funny. That's the comedy. It's not good comedy, and it's terrible, and I like to think he's learned from it, and he said he learned from it, but that's what a lot of people don't get. A lot of people are like, well, I don't understand why someone would think that any of that's funny. Like, who thinks making pedophile jokes is funny? It's like, it's not the statement that's funny, it's the reaction, it's the outrage that they find funny. But right. I know that, and then I think it's hypocritical because there's no way Disney did not know
exactly
that about those tweets. They 100% know that they knew about those tweets, and it's just hypocritical that they're literally backing down to this stupid fucking right-wing idiot who's also said a bunch of really terrible things about rape and sexual assault. He's also a shitty person who should lose his job, but that's besides the point. I honestly think a lot of it came down to the fact that the Fox merger was happening.
That could be a factor, but
because it was still up in the air, and there was a point in time that anybody could back out at any given moment. So like doing that swift reaction to getting rid of him is something that like in their mind could have secured them that deal going through. And I know for a fact, I know people who have said and done stupid things on stream and gotten kicked out of the organizations they were a part of only because of what was going on around that time. If it had been 6 months in the past or 6 months in the future, it probably would have just been like a slap on the wrist, big old conversation, lots of apologies, and time moves on. But because of what was going on at the time, instant reaction, removed from the org type thing. And I think that has a lot to do with this. I would love to see him get brought back in, but I just don't see Disney going back on that.
I mean, at the very least, I hope they use a script, though.
That I agree with. They should 100% use a script. It would be stupid not to.
Because Drax, Dave Bautista's threatened to leave if they don't.
He has, yeah. And then, honestly, if what was I going to say? Oh yeah, if he like honestly at this point I might not go see it, even though Guardians of the Galaxy is like my favorite thing, one of my favorite things that Marvel has done. It's like Guardians and then Spider-Man are my two favorite properties right now that they have.
Oh hell yeah.
And it's ridiculous, but honestly if Dave Bautista's not in it, I don't want to see it, because first of all, it would feel wrong if Drax was in it. If they recast him, it would be even worse in my opinion.
Right, exactly.
Like you can't do that.
It brushed past the Rhodey casting, brushed past us because the new Rhodey was actually better than the last one.
That one was, I got that a little bit more because it was like he left because of like monetary reasons, so he chose to leave more so. Okay. Like they couldn't come to a negotiation because of money. And it was early on in the MCU. This is like, we've already seen Dave Bautista in 3 movies. He's one of the central characters. So. And he's standing up for a friend, and the whole situation's messed up, and already has left a bad taste in my mouth. So I think it's just different than replacing somebody like Rhodey early on in the MCU's history. Whereas like now we are 10 years into this, and it just feels wrong. Just feel wrong, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's and also the thing is, it's like Disney can fire a dude for making offensive ass tweets, but when someone like Johnny Depp abuses Amber Heard, they're still working on fucking Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Pirates of the
Caribbean, like that's one of my biggest things, is that there are so many shitty people who have been proven. And even if you look at RDJ, not that I get it when it comes to kids and pedophile type stuff, I understand why you're more on the jump quick reaction towards anything else. But like I said, let the FBI do an investigation. If they find something, awesome. That's one less person involved in that. And if they don't, like, it's just, to me, it's hypocritical for Hollywood to try to pretend they have an issue with anything going on with child predator predators when there is a long-standing history of child predator behavior in Hollywood that is continuing on to this day that nobody's doing a damn thing about. So it's hypocritical, it's stupid, it's bullshit, and they are just trying to sit on some kind of like high horse that they really shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be, but yeah.
This is the one moment where I said, Disney, you need to get your shit together here. Like I love what you guys done with the movies and Star Wars and all that, but this is not looking good right now.
No, it is not. It is not.
But here's the thing, though. I'm hoping they don't replace Dave Bautista. I don't think that's gonna happen. But whoever takes over Guardians, it's not. We all know it's not gonna have that feel of the first two. But
because he made Guardians.
But to be fair, when I saw Avengers, I was worried that it wasn't going to feel like Guardians either, but I liked the way that the Russo brothers tackled the Guardians in that movie.
They got James Gunn to write those lines.
Really?
James Gunn wrote the Guardians lines, and then they directed it in a way that made the humor work. But that's the thing, the Russos are just really good at knowing the characters, and I feel like they let people who wrote the individual characters sometimes kind of bring in those personalities. And those characters are now so familiar with their characters that they can do those improv moments like why is Gamora. They can build off that because they know what their characters are. And that's so I think that went into a lot of it too. The Russos were very much like, okay, well, this is what James Gunn would recommend for something like this in the dialogue, and then you guys know your characters so well, how would you recommend doing the dialogue? And that's what we got. And I think that that's one of the reasons why this movie works so well, is because they did respect each individual character and how they behave, whereas like, you know, when you go to something like on Netflix with the Defenders, it's very much, it felt like, okay, so apparently whoever wrote the stuff for Iron Fist for the television show is also writing all the Iron Fist lines for Defenders, and it's fucking terrible. Whereas this was like, everything came together very fluidly. So
wait, so the writer of Iron Fist was involved with Defenders?
I have no idea. That's what it felt like. It's like,
because I couldn't get past Iron Fist. I couldn't.
No, Iron Fist is terrible. I couldn't make it through Defenders either.
I couldn't even make it through past the third episode. I was done. I just stopped and went on YouTube to watch a full recap. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I made it one episode.
But freaking Daredevil, those 2 seasons were fucking awesome in my opinion. They were great.
I think the first season was amazing. The second season was good with everything involving the Punisher. Terrible with anything involving the Hand or Elektra. I don't know what it is, but anytime they try, I hated it. Anytime they try to bring Elektra to the big screen, I hate it. And the Hand is just bad. It's bad.
I don't know. I felt that they were cool. I liked, what's his name? The ninja dude. I forgot his name.
He was okay.
Yeah,
like,
he was
it's okay.
Cool.
It's just that like I hate.
I felt more for this Elektra, in my opinion. I felt more for this Elektra than I did for Jennifer Garner's Elektra in the Ben Affleck.
Oh, we just don't talk about that. That's all bad. But I hated this Elektra too. This one annoyed the fuck out of me. They always do though. I don't know why, but I literally only liked like the stuff with dealing with the Punisher. All that was great, but then like Matt was just this like whiny baby the entire season. So I'm hoping the third season's gonna be good, but it's hard to say.
What I like about the first season though is the reaction that Foggy has when he finds out that Matt is Daredevil.
Yeah, that's all good and stuff.
That was the most genuine reaction I've ever seen in my fucking life. I was like, oh shit. He's not like, oh my god, you're Daredevil? Can you see my hand? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like you know how like in Spider-Man Homecoming, Ned finds out he's Spider-Man. He's like, oh my god, you're the Spider-Man from YouTube.
But to be fair, that's exactly how a kid would act if they found out their best friend was like the sound superhero.
True.
Exactly how a kid would act. 100%.
I know Foggy's not a kid, but you know, like even some movies have that trope where like even the adults act like man babies when they find it out.
Yeah, but at that point it was like he was kind of pissed off at him at the time, you know? So it's like
and
it made more sense to be like, come on, man. But I haven't seen it since it aired, so yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I started watching it after Punisher, and again, I just skipped through all the Elektra stuff because it annoyed the hell out of me. I literally just watched the Punisher storyline for Daredevil Season 2 the second time I watched it. I hated that. I disliked it that much, honestly.
Rather watch Daredevil 2 than freaking Iron Fist, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's no competition there.
You know how like these movies when like the rich inherited son or daughter, whatever, shows up to like a corporation building of their parent?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like if, for example, in Tomb Raider, she walks up to dude, and he's like, what's your name? Lara Croft. And he looks up like, oh shit, you're cool. In Batman Begins, he walks up to the girl, the clerk, or whatever, and then she asks for his name. He's like, Bruce Wayne? And she looks up like, what?
Yeah.
And in Iron Fist, it takes him fucking, like, 9 episodes to figure out that he's Danny Rand? Am I correct?
I literally made it 1 episode in, and I was like, nope.
Shit.
Nope.
Because apparently it took a whole freaking season to make sure that he cleared his name. I mean,
Dude,
I made sure that he was who he was. And
yeah. I just think it was dumb. It all really comes down to just that one line. The Hand are murderers and killers. That is the same thing, Danny. That is the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah,
So.
Iron Fist was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Fun fact: the chick, the chick he's going out with in the show,
I didn't
was
get that
in Force
far.
Awakens as one of the pilots.
Oh, good for her.
That's something good going. Also like to talk about another fun topic. The Academy Award adds popular film to the category.
I think it's a way for them to avoid having to put movies that are kind of not necessarily traditionally seen as artsy enough for the Academy, and then have people not yell at them for disregarding them. Because, like, not every superhero movie, not every, like, big budget action movie needs to be acknowledged for things outside of, like, technical. But sometimes there's movies that are, like, very ambitious, have a great story, and just happen to be about a superhero that I think totally deserve to be nominated, but as Best Picture. So I think that this is kind of a... It's just kind of a way to, like, alleviate that. Like, and I think it's fine, but then at the same time, I don't want to live in a world where something like fucking 50 Shades of Grey can be technically an Academy Award-winning thing for its story.
Well, it's over now, so I doubt it.
Well, I know it's over, but it's just, like, something like that. Like...
Yeah, those movies were terrible.
Yeah.
And I refuse to live in a world where Suicide Squad won an Academy Award for anything.
Well, like, if it's for technical, if it's for makeup, it's for costume, like, you can have a terrible movie that had amazing special effects.
But
and you can have...
it won over Star Trek, and I saw that movie the same year. It had amazing makeup. It had amazing practical effects. There's, like, this scene where this chick has, like, tentacles in the back of her head that hides an artifact that the villain is trying to get.
Yeah, but to be fair, like, I don't think they actually pay attention to the special effects. It's like the kids' movies. If it's a Pixar movie, that's what they vote for. That's just what happens, and I think that... Yeah, but that's the thing, but it wouldn't matter even if it did deserve it. It was going to get it anyways, and we all know that.
True. Yeah.
And then it's like the technical stuff. They don't know. It's like these old stuffy old men. They don't know. They're like, oh, okay, a movie about the war, that's going to win. So, like, it's going to disregard things like Baby Driver because they don't want to watch it, and they're going to disregard it, even if Baby Driver had the best editing. Literally, the best editing of any movie last year. 100%. 100%.
And Blade Runner should have won for more than just
cinematography.
The cinematography
At least
and the effects.
It took it. At least it took cinematography,
yes.
for the love of God.
It deserved every single one of those awards.
Yeah, at least it got that. But it deserved to be nominated for Best Picture of the Year, in my opinion. I think that Baby Driver could have been comfortable in that spot because there's a lot of movies that were nominated for Best Picture that kind of sucked.
You know what I like most about the movie? Like, the more you watch... I watched it more than once, here and there. And the more you watch it, the more shit you notice.
Exactly. It's
visually
like...
and stuff like that. Like, little things. And you're like, oh. Kind of like Ready Player One, where, like, only those were more obvious.
That's like Easter egg noticing. That's like...
Yeah,
I think,
but...
I find it, like, it's... Edgar Wright's the kind of person that directs things in a way that you notice what's going on because you want to notice what's going on, and it's in-your-face editing, whereas somebody like David Fincher does a lot of amazing stuff that's more subtle and you don't notice, and, like, both of them should be commended for the both. It's very interesting that you can have, like, the people that I would consider, like, my favorite have very completely different directing styles, so... But either way, I think it's interesting that maybe some of these movies might get a little bit more of an nod, but at the same time I think it's just so that they don't end up in situations where you end up with like something like The Dark Knight that probably should have been nominated for Best Picture of the Year and didn't, just because it's a superhero movie technically. So
right,
yeah,
it's like I'm glad that Heath Ledger won for the Joker, but
yeah,
that's
for sure.
Up until Suicide Squad, that's the only award a superhero movie has ever received. But I was. It's. I don't know. The Popular Film Award makes like almost every film, like, a target for like, hey, that could win, or that could win. Like Black Panther, that could win because representation, or that movie could win because it made a lot of fucking money.
I will say that there are people who think that Black Panther should be nominated for an Academy Award in the Best Picture category, and I disagree. I think Black Panther did a lot of really cool things. I think it obviously did a lot in terms of diversity, and it really just like it was amazing that it was like first black superhero-led movie.
And the cultural
really great
outreach too. Like,
yeah,
I've seen
unapologetically.
people come in the theater with their tribal clothes, and I'm like, oh, this is
that's what I mean.
Good.
Unapologetically cultural, bringing people together. I think in terms of a cultural phenomenon, it should definitely be acknowledged, and that's where a popular movie category would be great. It is not the best movie of the year. It has tons of like the story is not amazing. It has some flow issues. I don't think it's one of the best Marvel movies. So it's not better than Infinity War. So Infinity War, in my opinion, would be nominated for Best Picture over Black Panther.
But if I'm being honest, in my opinion, I actually enjoyed it better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. Honestly.
Yeah, I did for sure. Yeah.
Because Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of nearly fell into the sequelitis territory, whereas like it's not as good as the first, and it does certain things that are familiar from the first one, like the Louis storytelling, but at least it wasn't forced, like, because the way he tells the story, I'm not gonna give it away, it's like, oh, that makes sense.
It made sense, yeah. I just would have wanted it all the time.
Black Panther wasn't unique in terms of storytelling, but I liked the way it was told. I liked the actors. I liked the character development.
Yeah, it was good. It's not that I'm not saying it's a bad movie by any means. It's just it's not Best Picture of the year.
It's overrated.
It's
overrated, basically.
And I say that as somebody who I'm like, oh, if you loved it and it's your favorite movie of the year because you resonated with it, that's amazing. That's fine. There's tons of movies. Yeah, there's tons of, like, my favorite movie last year probably would have been Spider-Man: Homecoming, but I don't think it needed to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. I thought it was amazing, but it's like that I can know the difference. I know the difference, like what's,
yeah,
Academy Award worthy versus something that's just like amazing.
Yeah, with Spider-Man: Homecoming, I thought that was an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like my sister had problems with it because she didn't like Liz as a character because
a lot of people don't
Mary
like
Jane
Liz
and Gwen Stacy. I feel like she's more of like
she's just a shallow romance. Basically. She's a shallow high school romance. It's not supposed to be a catalyst character like MJ or Gwen.
She's just there to be like, oh hey, she likes a girl.
She's there to be like, this is a typical teenager who likes a girl, and then on top of that, it's supposed to be I can do the easy thing and be a kid and hang out and go swimming with the girl I have a crush on in high school. I can show off to her. I can chill with her at her house party. But then he goes and does his responsibility. He literally goes, he's like, I need to do the right thing. I'm going to literally ruin my social life so that I can go do the right thing. and that's what she exists for. She's not there to be some massive, like, catalyst. I'm going to save you at all costs, Liz. That's not what she's there for. She's a high school crush.
He only saves her once in the movie.
Yeah, and she saves a bunch of people, and it's not just because it's her. It's not because somebody's being like, I'm dangling the love of your life over an elevator shaft. It's like, oh crap, something bad happened because I was being an idiot, and now I have to go fix my problem of being an idiot. So
yeah, he makes mistakes, and they're genuine mistakes. He tries, and there are times where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the ferry because I feel it's the right thing to do. But then Tony's like, hey, dude, I called the FBI. You didn't really need to come all the way over here, bro. But you fucked up more shit than you should have.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's him. It's him learning. It's him. He's making mistakes and then trying to solve them. You know? But yeah, it's just everybody hating her put too much importance on her character.
Yeah. She wasn't really that big a deal to me. Like, I thought she was fine as like the love interest. She wasn't annoying like Mary Jane screaming, constantly
No, she wasn't annoying at all.
Her stock screaming.
Yeah,
their stock screams. They used it from the first movie all throughout the trilogy. And I'm like, you couldn't use her other screams? Or were they not that good? Were they not that, oh my god, she's in trouble worthy? You know what I mean? Gwen Stacy as a character was okay. She had more to do than Mary Jane did, but she was just
she was fine.
In the second one to die.
Yeah, but I liked her. I liked their on-screen chemistry. I think that's what saved those movies a lot, was them just on screen together.
Mark Webb knows how to direct a romantic comedy.
He does. He's good at directing
not a
people.
comic book movie at all. Mark Webb.
I'll be honest, I like the first Spider-Man. I liked Amazing Spider-Man a lot, and I think most of the problems with the second one were, again, because Sony can't keep their hands out of the pot.
No, they cannot. No, they cannot.
Yeah.
But I think that I don't like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 as much as a lot of people do. Because I saw it as more of a direct, soft, not even a soft reboot of the first movie. Right down to Uncle Ben dying and saying responsibility. They're like, they're trying way too hard to like, we're not going to say the exact line, but we have to say the word responsibility.
I know, but then if they don't Whereas
something like Homecoming and Civil War is like, not on the nose with it and they explain
Homecoming showed instead of telling. They say that Spider-Man has all this responsibility in the first two movies and then time and time again show him not actually doing anything responsible. Whereas Homecoming doesn't say the word, he just does it. He's responsible. The closest they get is that conversation in Civil War when he's like, when you have the ability to stop the bad people from doing things and you don't, and then bad things happen, it's your fault.
Right and there. You don't need the word responsibility.
You don't need to say it, and then they show it. They go on to show it.
And the Uncle Ben thing. I'm so glad that they didn't implement his death into the story.
Yeah, they got rid of what you already know. They got rid of what you already know, and it's good.
In one line, you can literally just sum it up. It's like, after all Aunt May's been through, and we already know
and all the stuff with my uncle. After everything she's been through and all the stuff with my uncle, like I can't put her through that. That's all it needed.
Exactly. Like Marvel knows their shit, and Sony just wants to make money. They want to make money with movies like Spider-Man and Venom and their new freaking Sonyverse that they're trying to make, which is retarded.
Oh, they just totally dropped it from like the R rating down to a PG-13 rating too, which I know means it's just going to be so lame.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and they're planning on making more villain movies with Black Cat and Morbius apparently.
Yeah.
Morbius. Oh boy, I don't know. Sony sucks.
Sony they have to make the movie, otherwise they lose the rights. They had to make something with Spider-Man in it, otherwise the rights default. And I think they thought that Disney making a movie would count, but then realized it didn't, so they're like, shit, we gotta make Venom.
I don't know. I saw that. I'm not sure about Venom now. I recently talked to a friend of mine about it, and he's very his hopes and dreams for the movie being good are dashed because of the new information I fed to him about it. Who's writing it and how and what's and based on what on his knowledge of the comic and I don't know. It's just this movie doesn't look appealing at all. Right down to the turd in the wind joke. It just it doesn't make any sense. I still have people yelling at me
saying that it's bird in the wind, and I'm like, no, it's very clearly turd in the wind. And if it wasn't turd in the wind, they would have clarified that a long time ago. And secondly, the line comes right after he says, we're gonna like first we will rip off your arms, then we will rip off your legs, and then we will eat your face. You'll be a faceless, legless, armless thing, a turd in the wind. A bird is not legless or faceless. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Not that the line "turd in the wind" makes sense, but I at least get what they were going for. I at least get what they were going for.
So did I. And the whole excuse where like, oh, they ripped the line directly from the comics, so that means the movie's gonna be good.
That's the thing. But "turd in the wind" wasn't. Everybody's like, oh, that's from the comic books. Like, no, eyes, lungs, pancreas, so many snacks, so little time is from the comic book. "Turd in the wind," as far as I'm aware, has never been in a comic book. So,
no. And like, not to mention that his lines are almost completely incomprehensible.
Yeah, they are. I was okay. I understood. I know a lot of people didn't. I think it might have depended on where you were listening or how you were listening. I think it was a lot easier with like a headset, but yeah.
Speaking of Tom Hardy, I'd like to finish the podcast off with talking about the movie that we definitely have differing opinions on.
Oh God.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I think it's shitty.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was really bad. I think that for the whole point of the first two movies were like, we are going to create a superhero movie that for the most part, you don't have to suspend your disbelief to watch. You can literally just go into it being like, this could probably really be happening. And then you get to Dark Knight Rises, which is just loaded with poor pacing, terrible characters, things that just wouldn't have happened, totally not realistic. Like, why would Batman take time when his entire city is being destroyed to rig up a bat symbol and explosives on the side of a bridge? And secondly, how did he do it with a broken back? Also, how did he get out of the hole with the broken back and get to a different country without any of his Bruce Wayne money in time to stop Bane? And Bane was stupid. I can acknowledge that there's a lot of plot holes. There's so many problems. Bane was terrible. And then Bane being like the whole fucking like, oh, Bane's not actually the villain. It's actually Talia al Ghul. It's like, and then the only thing that people had an issue with Dark Knight was the, where are they? Like literally that. And then instead of just avoiding that, they literally bring it back for this one with, where's the trigger? I was laughing. I was laughing. And I was hilarious. Like, it's like literally, the only thing anybody had to complain about this was that stupid voice and him asking, where are they? So why would you bring it back for the third one? And it was just a mess. It was a mess of a storyline. And I think it probably would have been good if like the Joker, if Heath Ledger hadn't passed away. I think he had to change up his storyline. The whole thing just made no fucking sense at all. And Bane taking over the city didn't make any sense. And there was like no frame of reference for time. I haven't seen it in years, so like a lot of my more specific tidbits.
Well, I could defend it. I could definitely defend the time. They mentioned at one scene that that like the bomb will go off in 33 days, and then as Bruce Wayne leaves the hole, it probably cuts to the point where Lucia says the bomb goes off in 12 hours. It's been that fucking long? It's been 33 days.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's like, how did he get from where he was back to Gotham City?
Because of Batman.
But he's not Batman right now. He's got no Batman suit. He's got no Batman powers. He's got no Bruce Wayne money. And how, like, because it's more the fact that his back healed in that amount of time. The timeline makes no sense for his back to heal.
There's no specific. It doesn't really specify on that. But I'm on the other side where I actually like the movie. Yes, there are problems.
There's a lot of problems.
The main problem for me that was apparent was the choreography.
The choreography.
Yeah, because it's like I played the Arkham games, or at least the first one, and it was like, oh shit, I get to punch dude. Because if I played the second Arkham game before watching Dark Knight Rises, I probably would have seen the Talia al Ghul twist coming from a mile away. But the combat was so good in that, and I saw the trailer for Arkham City. I never played it until after I saw the movie. But then I saw the combat, and it just doesn't look good. They're barely near each other when they punch each other. I know they're not supposed to trying to not injure the actors, but come on.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise makes his movies more believable with the action than Dark Knight Rises does.
It's true. That's right. But even that, I would give it a pass on that if the story made sense. True. The story was just stupid.
It's like with Black Panther. The CG might have been shitty at points, but at least the story was decent.
Yeah, at least it felt like it was a good movie. But I don't remember. I just remember, like I said, I haven't watched Dark Knight Rises like since back when it came out because I wouldn't have a reason to because I didn't like it. Why would I watch it again? So I've seen it 3 times. I tried 3 times to like it. The first time I watched it, I was expecting it to be amazing. Batman Begins was freaking awesome. Dark Knight, amazing. So I was like, shit, this is going to be the perfect trilogy. So I'm watching it, and I just remember I was like getting more mad as it's going. And then we left the movie theater, and I was driving home, and I kept getting more angry. And I was like, I don't understand. I think that was a really bad movie. So then I went and I looked up YouTube videos of people explaining, and I'm like, damn, yeah, that was a really bad movie. And then I went and saw it again with one of my friends because she wanted to see it, and I was like, okay, maybe it'll get better. And I wanted to sleep. I wanted to go to sleep because it was so bad. And I can make it through most things multiple times and enjoy it, even if I wasn't huge on the movie. I'm pretty good. I can rewatch things a lot and be okay with it, but it was so bad I wanted to fall asleep, but it was too loud to fall asleep. It was way too loud to fall asleep. And then once it came out on DVD, I acquired it, and I watched it a 3rd time, and I was like, yep, still stupid as shit. Close the door, done with it, and I've never watched it again. Because why would I? Why would I bother watching something that I hated that many times?
I mean, the only time I would watch a bad movie is at my theater when I have nothing else to watch during my break time.
Oh, yeah, well, I do that. That'd be fine. I don't mind watching something bad for the first time, but watching it 3 times when I know I didn't like it. I tried 3 times to like that movie, and it just got worse every time.
I don't want to watch Jurassic World in its entirety ever
I will
again.
never watch Jurassic World 2 again. I will never watch Jurassic Fallen Kingdom ever again in my life. That'll never happen.
No.
It's not happening.
But this movie, Dark Knight Rises, I kind of have a soft spot for it. Honestly,
that's fair. I have soft spots for all sorts of terrible movies, but I can acknowledge that they're terrible.
I thought it was better than most of the opposites say it is. You know.
I feel like most people liked it. I feel like it's just like years down the road, people are like, you know what, that wasn't that great. I'm like, yeah. Like, no,
honestly, when I first saw it, I thought it was fucking amazing, and then years later, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was shitty. There's some shitty moments in the movie.
That's
like some of the stuff you said about the whole back thing, and I'm like, yeah, that's no way he was gonna be able to get that fixed like that. It's not. No, but then I just like his arc of him overcoming fear again, which was like, okay, it's like how are you gonna be able to fight longer than possible without overcoming the fear of death? And I'm like, okay.
No, I mean, I thought too.
Yeah.
I just thought it was stupid.
I like that he was able to get out of there as Bruce Wayne and not Batman, even though most of it didn't make sense.
No, that's what I mean. That's why it didn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. You don't have a passport. You don't have a plane. You don't have any money. You don't have your bat suit. You don't have your bat gear. How the fuck?
Yeah.
How the fuck did you get back in time to stop Bane? Made no sense. And if it had been any other superhero movie, I would have been like, it's fine. It's like Game of Thrones is playing the jump around game a ton, and I'm like, sure. Make it happen. You guys are out of the actual written storyline. You're just doing whatever you need to get to the end of the story. I'm fine with it being like, okay, something that would have taken an entire season a year ago to happen, happens overnight. I'm totally okay with that. In the same episode. Do it. But it's a fantasy show. This was literally the entire thing is all like, this is the realistic, dark, gritty superhero movie that you can trust. And it's like, no, this is bullshit that you now have to ignore the fact that none of it makes any sense. But that's me.
I agree that it's not the perfect trilogy
in
some regard, but I think it's as a trilogy. I think it's fine. The first 2 were good, and the third one kind of fell flat at points.
I don't even think Christopher Nolan likes this one. I don't even think he wanted to make it, but the studio.
But his movies gotten better. Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, those were good.
They're good. I do like them. I feel like Inception struggles from being the most amazing thing you've ever seen the first time you see it, and then it gets like not as amazing the more you see it. Like, I don't have the urge to rewatch Inception like ever. I do feel the need to rewatch things like Memento and Prestige quite a bit. I think those are really good.
You definitely need to rewatch Memento because it's like a lot to take in.
Yeah, but I just think that Inception, honestly, after it was like I was like raving about that movie for like weeks on end, and I was like, I don't understand how Social Network is doing better. And then like years later, I haven't watched Inception in like, I don't know, probably 5 years, but I watch Social Network like multiple times a year because it's amazing. So I just think that he's a very flashy director, and then I think that once you kind of, it's not that Inception's a bad movie, I just think that what you see and what you get after the first time you make it through gets less amazing every time, because you feel like, okay, it's not as shocking anymore. Whereas like something that's just really strong character driven, it has more of a rewatch value. That's how I kind of feel about
Interstellar.
I liked Interstellar. I did like Interstellar.
I thought it was a good movie, but like, and you see the planets, and then when you see the planets again and again, it's like, really? A water planet? A snow planet? A desert planet? You see that a lot in Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It was really good. I think Interstellar is something that you see once and you see again to like kind of really understand something that you might not have caught quite the first time. But then again, it's like it plays its hand once you know what the trick is. Once the illusion is open, it can only be so amazing for rewatches. But yeah.
Movies rarely have that replay value for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Avengers, I can watch that over and over again.
Oh,
and kind of
absolutely.
Feel fucked up beyond compare for Spider-Man's death and everyone else's. Oh shit. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone on the stream probably saw it already
at this point. But yeah, wanna wrap it up here?
Yeah.
Running out of time, but yes, this was good.
All right. I appreciate you coming down. discussing shit.
Yeah, it was good. It was cool to do it live. Just kind of keep the stream going. It was fun. So now I get people can chill in the chat and listen to us ramble, and now your viewers can listen to us ramble, and it's good.
Isn't that great?
It is. It is.
All right, then. Once again, I appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, this was good. Yeah, so if you guys are listening still, make sure to check out my channels. It's AmandaTheJedi. I also have another one called Mind Trick Movies. Those will be linked down below. Check out my stream if you like talking to streamers. Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of Mind Trick Movies, he's also working on movie editorials like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend you check those out as well. She uploaded one as of late.
Yeah, should hopefully have a second one out this week.
Can't wait for that too. I'll definitely put that in the link.
Hell yeah, thank you.
All right, peace out, everyone.
Peace out.